Hello, welcome to everybody, and this is Sangeeta, and welcoming you all to this webinar. And today we will discuss about another aspect of this course that you are being offered. This course name is Mindful Millionaire. So, what is the reason? Why should we call it Mindful Millionaires while this is a performance optimization course for the professionals who are 8 year plus into their jobs, and they have quite a lot of experience, but they are feeling stuck. So when do you feel stuck? There is a pain moment, right? So everybody, I think so, across the globe, they actually undergo a transitional period during their 8 plus years of experience at workplace, whether with one's own enterprise or being an employee or working anywhere. Like I said, that is a significant change because you relook at your career that has been so far, and where are you in terms of your dreams and goals, whatever you had. If you are in line, then also there are some things which, if that is uh, not there as yet achieved, then that also kind of keeps you stuck, right? But do you know that there are weaknesses which can be converted into strengths? So that means what? Like say you already have those strengths, right? It's just that a little bit of tweak here, a little bit of shift there. That is what all that is required for this strengths to be actually strengths rather than weaknesses. I'll tell my story. So this is Sangeeta, and I started my career about 10 plus years back. And when I started, actually, I was a software research professional, and I did some data analysis, and it was a whole lot of work. If you know the research work, you start with a vision, a concept, right? And you need to research means what? You need to examine something which has been ongoing, or there is a idea floated which needs some examination. That is what. So starting from the questionnaire design, wherein I kept the target beneficiaries in mind, then training the investigators. After they collected the data and came back, then validating that data, creating a package for entering that data. If we are not entering in house, then we needed to outsource that. So coordinating with the vendors. Then once it is done, then analyzing data with the help of SPSS or Foxbase. I used for some time, and there are many packages were there which I used for analyzing that data. And once those tables have been generated, then writing a draft report for the professionals to add in other other observations as well. So that is what I did. So it is a whole lot of work. But at the end of the day, what was happening was, because the report was passing to some seniors, then the seniors had the whole control about the report. And then, like say, my work was kind of ignored after some time. So that was the pain point. And I wanted to know more, so that I could contribute more. Maybe in getting those data, like sourcing that data, that is part of fundraising, and I wanted to get there. And then the other aspect is, like say, learning more aspects of the software, because I was doing what? I was doing some discrete kind of analysis, and I wanted to do deeper statistical analysis so that I could see the trend which is not normally visible in the simple analysis. Similar kind of data will give you some wrong information and some wrong trends also. So that was my plan. But due to some personal, uh, the productive age and the reproductive age for a woman is same, and that creates a lot of trouble. So from the home front, actually, as not supported that much. So I had to struggle there, and I had to struggle at office. So there was lot of conflict going on. So mm what I did was I changed job. So I changed job, and I changed my location as well. I went to another city. So that was kind of a lot of struggle at personal front, and because that is there, and everybody knew that there is some struggle in the personal front. So when I went to the other cities with another job also, there also people came to know about that, and they kind of try to manipulate that. So these are the aspects, the other others. This happens with everybody's life, right? So what did I do to change my stand or change my circumstances so that I could progress further? Because I then I can I can say that I am a successful person today, and there were little shifts which I undertook. You know, when I was traveling in buses and in metros, trains, everywhere, like say, people are grieving about their buses, their workplace issues, and it was so much that even the entire, like say, in 3 4 hours, people keep on complaining. So then the insight came to my mind: what was I doing? I also was doing the same thing, right? As not discussing with many people, but it was going on inside my mind. So there is not much difference in that. If you are not telling anybody, then you are telling yourself and getting frustrated. And when you are telling to somebody, then also it is part of getting frustrated because you are venting out your frustration, right? But again, you are spoiling your peace of mind, right? Peace of mind, and your energy is being spoiled. Here you are depleting your energy, there you are depleting your energy. And I started thinking, like, see, why to get affected by what is happening outside, what is happening with other people? So many times we read, right? Once you give control over yourself to other people, then they will do whatever they choose, and because you have accepted that they should control your life, then you get controlled, right? So you get controlled by other people, so you are losing control over yourself. So that was the biggest uh, like say awakening point for me, and I started from there. Also at the same time, I also was reading lot of law of attraction things. Whether I learned something about the law of attraction or not, I realized that everything depends on one's own mindset. If you are carrying lot of negativity within yourself, then you are no good for even to attract anything, creating anything, because we are human beings. And if I am angry and I am burdened inside, then the person, anybody, right? My boss, my friends, my community people, anybody can guess that I'm angry, I'm burdened. So that doesn't create an inspiring situation, right? So if nobody is inspired by you, then nobody is going to take it. Like say, they don't want to be friendly with you, right? So if that is the case, then no matter how much skill you have, you still will not be able to lead, right? You will not be able to make a difference in anybody's life. So that was the big turning point. So if you have something, and these require little shifts in your perception and your habits, your actions, and your attitude, which will take you far. So that is what people have done, people have learned. And that is my story also. And you know where these things happen. And when I say that it requires a mindset change to get into the positive aspects and get to progress at workplace, then people say, is it about oiling the boss? No, it is not so. And why do you think that it has to be like say oiling the boss? It is not. What about the peers who do not like you, who do not want to keep company with you, your company? That is not about oiling, right? What is bothering them then? And if you are not able to inspire anybody, what about your juniors? So workplace is not about only seniors, the bosses, right? Boss is just only one person, and there are hundreds of people around you who are peers and juniors. What about that? So if you keep on uh, inquiring about each person, then it is not possible to maintain your relationships with them. But what you can do is you can change yourself to such a mindset that you are not actually antagonistic to the other people. You are helpful, at least from your point of view, from your side. You should be positive, right? That is what we all have to do before complaining, right? It is such a small thing, but we kind of forget about that because of certain circumstances. It is not always our fault. It is not the fault always at this side also. There is fault at other side, maybe. But how, what do we do to attract that kind of antagonism against ourselves? So that is something we need to know, right? So the first thing is keep your slate clean. Let us see how. So if we go back to my screen, so here I say formulate your own secrets to stand out in a crowd. Uh, so this is not about my secrets. I will share about my secrets, of course, what I did. But from that, you can generalize and you can start having your secrets as well. So my name here is shown at Nilima Bandhavgarh. Why? Because the Zoom has taken that name, and I used to have my Facebook account in this name for some time because I worked at Bandhavgarh. So don't get confused about that, right? And let us move on to the second slide, which say know three strengths in your personality. You know, your weaknesses are your strength as well, right? Your weaknesses are your strength as well, because those weaknesses only require certain tweaks, a little shifts to turn into strengths because you already have them. So these are the things which you can do to stand out in a crowd today. And you can also um, have a business. Ultimately, if you have this mindset, then only you can reach there, right? Because it requires a lot of good feeling and good vibes and lot of goodwills. So that is what required if for those shifts. And it is not very difficult, you know. These are very small tweaks which anybody can do, and just you need to change your mindset, your your way of thinking just a little. Let us see how. And these are for change makers. Ordinary people, everyday people, I haven't seen them bothered about any solutions, right? It is only the change makers, the trendsetters, and the extraordinary human beings who want to who want to do, like say, uh, from their own barriers, they want to go, they want to reach out to something extraordinary. That is how these people actually get into that situations of getting stuck, right? And this is for those people only. And how do I uh, recognize you? Because I can see the resoluteness, the responsibleness. You are innovative, you are curious, you are hardworking, genuine, helping, and supportive. That is how I recognize you. When I show these qualities to one of my friends, it's a funny thing. You're saying you are describing a good husband, right? See, that is that is true. That is very true. But again, so when a lady chooses a husband, she looks at these qualities in a husband. What does a husband look at in his wife? Maybe beautiful, other things also, but ultimately these qualities are ones which matter, right? So and also I have added one aspect from my side, that they also share my vision to go global, right? So these I have put some characteristics of how to master get mastery over oneself. So this is a slide I have taken from a friend, of course. See, to have an extraordinary quality of life, you need to live in alignment with your values, right? So that is what I told. You have to be genuine. You have to be honest. You have to have integrity. So that is how you can have the alignment of your values, right? Anticipation is the ultimate power. You know from before that this thing is coming. If you know your relationships well, if you care about the relationships, that is only when you anticipate those things, right? As far as human traits are concerned, complexity is the enemy of execution. Step by step things you need to do. I'll tell one story about my thing. When I became successful, right? When I became successful, I became successful because mm, it had a huge result, but nobody had any idea about how I succeeded. When it came to my mind, I had that in my mind, and the entire thing I can see, but it is not so it is not so obvious for other people who are not involved, who are not directly involved. So that person can be your boss, right? So if you have to explain the boss and you want to have his buy-in, you definitely have to make it a step-by-step plan so that he understands, she understands, whoever is the boss, right? So that is step-by-step process. Actually, is something which will help you, um, which will help you scale up also in many things, also in this course. If I don't do scale step by step thing, you also won't understand, right? When you get things without effort, you don't value them. So it requires your effort, right? And other people's experience is even more valuable than their other people's experience is even more valuable than their experience. Your own experience, that is valuable, that is even more valuable for me. If I am the person, my experience is okay, but the other people's experience, it brings another insight, right? Another perspective. So that is what you um, uh, should be comfortable with to learn. Otherwise, how can you learn? If you are not comfortable with, you cannot accept another viewpoint, then you cannot learn. Unless the power within. We all have some insight. That is how I started looking at things differently, right? We all have powers, but we at times we give our control to somebody else, blaming the other person. So that is how we give the power. So to get back your own life, your the control of your own life, you need to take responsibility, right? And it takes hard work. So just just learn, no matter what, and learn from somebody. If you need to have a mentor, of course, and learn from somebody who has already done that, who is doing something outstanding, and um, repeat whatever you are learning, right? So, how a mid-career professional looks like? If it is a lady, she says how to balance work and family, how to regain my spark. She thinks that after say so many years, she doesn't have any more brightness left in her, and nobody cares about her. And in Indian context, it is a thankless existence. Uh, um, kind of it is thankless existence because it is going here there, no, taking care of your family and taking care of workplace, like that. Am I a woman leader? How can I become employable? So in this pandemic period, say only 6% of women have reported that they are satisfied about workplace. So many of them have been caretaker. Again, they are not anymore earning for themselves, or they are not good for themselves. So why my income has stagnated, how to become recognized? These are few of the areas. How far can I dream? Should I look for an assignment in another city, as I have done? So that is what many of the ladies who also take into mind, become a specialist, MIS sought after professional. So these things actually keep bothering a lady who is stuck. Now, and before I forget, I should tell you that these lady clients of mine, I call them Rihanna, and these gentlemen are Irfan, according to me. No religion there, just those names came to my mind, and those names appear to be smart, so that is why I have taken those names. Many people, because these are very troubled times, they are in confrontation with wife, and trouble at home, they lose friends. Can I start a side hustle? Because that is why, because the income is reducing, so they want a side hustle to start. They don't know how, where from the time will come, and the friction also is coming, and the same problem as like the lady, the Rihanna, is facing. Same problem to professionals come, no more or less. It becomes a little different in case of men and women, but both of them kind of face the similar kind of problem in their professional life. So if we take all the problems together, then these uh, these are the problems. And why do you feel stuck? Because you get a lot of negative vibes. disproportionate conversion, the amount of effort you are putting in compared to that, your success rate is very very little. So that is the second thing. And you are filling a glass wall. You are able to see the 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 way out, but you are stuck with a glass wall. You don't know how to go overcome that glass wall. The insights that we will be getting into is self, people, and dream. All our things are around self, people, and dream, right? How you assess yourself, how others assess you, and what impression you make. So I have named that as uniqueness, credibility, and depth. Our entire course will be centered around this, and actually you get all your problems because of this, not about others. It is about oneself, right? And I call them as self management, people management, and dream management. So we will discuss some of the scenarios, and we will see where do you stand according to those scenarios, and how little shifts it takes actually. Self-identification of three strengths in your personality. Those will appear as weaknesses while we discuss these scenarios, but those can be converted into strengths. And how can you work with me and question and answer? So the dilemmas that Rihanna and Irfan face are: they feel not up to the mark, workplace politics, and inability to find new opportunities. These are mainly three dilemmas around which they struggle, right? So who I am? I'm Sangeeta, and in my life, as I said, there were a lot of politics going on. The same problems that I have just described Rihanna and Irfan to be facing, the same problem were with me, but I took a big decision to take a job in another city. See, it is not a generic solution that I'm saying, but this is what I did, right? So that was taking a new job in another city was a big uh, leap for me, big jump, change job. And I mostly choose difficult projects and start looking inward. So these are the three secrets that I had applied. So these were three strengths in my portfolio. Let us see what is yours. So what I achieved was I climbed to the senior management level in 3 years time. Salary doubled in 2017, and my strengths. So those three strengths I would like some more deeper look let us take. So I make an instant impression, both good and bad. People either think me to be proud, or they will think that I am very proactive. Proud or proactive, either of these people normally tend to think about me. So that gives me some insight about I'm the same person, right? And people, mm, according to their own experience, they will designate me. So you are not changing. It is the perception and the experiences of other people which is changing. So why I should be bothered about that? So that is the one insight came to me, and I tell myself that I have to accept that some people will consider me good, and some other people will consider me to be bad. And the next strength is I have chosen, as I just described, in remote, backward, and difficult areas. There was another reason also why I choose those difficult projects, because not many people will choose like say decide to go and take those projects. So it was easier way, and I can see a solution in all the kind of problems as far as livelihood is concerned. I don't know, that has been a gift to me. And so I kind of I chose those projects, and I can see solution with inclusion. Everybody I can include in whatever I am doing. If people are good at me, actually I can include them in my work all the time, right? So let us discuss how I did that. But before that, let us assess your thoughts so that we can together take that journey about how to accept partners in development, right? Your thoughts make you, your strengths are your strong point, and your weaknesses can also lead to find your hidden strengths. That is what we just discussed. So this is the first thing. So people, when they see me, they term as proud or fastidious or very strong headed. They actually describe me to be obsessed, right? And the other way of looking at obsession is passion, right? So to have long term success in any position of leadership, you have to be obsessed in some way. So till you reach that leadership position and you have proven successful, as Pat Relay says, you will face these kind of comments that you are being fastidious, you are being obsessed like this. So what do you think about yourself if you are in such a position? Are you thinking negative about yourself? You are thinking negative about the other person? You are trying to change yourself? You are trying to adopt another strategy for yourself? What are you doing? See, write down that. So if you are giving away control of yourself to other person, then that is the wrong solution, right? All others are correct. Let us see the second position. So Binod and Rajesh are two characters out here. Binod happened to be much sought after person before Rajesh joined. And Rajesh joined because Binod wanted. And after Rajesh joined, people who were looking for Binod for everything, at least, because Binod was very innovative. Um, he could offer suggestions in all the problems. So everybody wanted Binod sometime or other. But after Rajesh joined, many people actually started um, uh, going to Rajesh, or they were asking Rajesh to help other than Binod. So Binod felt that like say he felt kind of deprived. He felt that 50% of colleagues, they are not in touch with him anymore. So what do you think? Do you face such a situation? How do you think? It is all you do. Why Binod chose Rajesh to be joining in? Because he was overworked, right? He was overburdened, and his core activity, he was not getting time to do his core activity. So that is why Rajesh joined. But afterwards, because it was a question of getting attention, so he kind of started feeling negative about this. So how would you feel if you are put in such a circumstance? Think over this, right? So here, if you can see that Binod, if he can accept, if he can train Rajesh more, then Rajesh could take over his position as a solution provider, right? He might, Rajesh can consult Binod in all the things, but Binod wouldn't have to be present at all the places wherever this suggestions was required. That work, that task, Rajesh could undertake, and Binod will get sufficient time to deliver his own uh, core activity, right? Do you think like this? If you think like this, then you have one strength here, because you can delegate your work to other people. Delegation is a very, very important leadership quality, right? So where do you stand? The second is the strategic initiative vice president, Mr. Johnson, wanted Julie to be given a higher responsibility. According to Mr. Johnson, Julie was a very innovative person. But Julie's supervisor was very apprehensive because people people were not very friendly with Julie. So when sensing this, he actually consulted the HR training executive. The training executive approached Julie. He asked, "What do your colleagues think of you?" And Julie said, "They appreciate I am an achiever." Yes, of course. "Do they respect you too?" was the next question, and Julie hesitated. So appreciation is one thing, and respect and to come into a team is another thing, right? If you can recognize this subtle difference, then you would know what you need to do. You might be in the position of Julie, you might be in the position of Mr. Johnson, the vice president, you might be in the position of the training executive. Wherever you feel you are, what will be your situation? How will you deal with Julie? How Julie should approach now, and what should the vice president should do out here? Think about that. As a person heading a big team, his job is to spot talent, and he has done that. Julie is a very innovative person, and she is an achiever also. She has done 75% of her work, but she needs to get along with her colleagues also, no, to get into a bigger responsibility and bigger team, bigger project. And the training executive, he has to be very, very sensible in his approach towards Julie, not to offend her, not to underplay her strengths, but he has to show that Julie needs to improve. Where are you? Marco, in the third scenario, Marco is a subject matter expert. One day his boss said, "You should be a specialist by now," said his boss. And Marco wondered, what does that even mean? He didn't understand. He is already a specialist, kind of. He thought he was a specialist, but what was the difference? Well, is it a promotion? It is a higher responsibility, or it is getting sidelined? In such a change, whenever there is a change, people tend to get into this kind of mindset. There is a self-doubt happening. You don't trust the other person, so you can't think positive. And even if you think positive, the other person might be negative, but why should you be so apprehensive? If that is the thought which comes to your mind, then that is actually making you weak. So you should see the opportunity in everything. You can discuss with your boss, saying that this is not what I am looking at. This is this is the thing I am looking at, and that gives the boss to clarify his position as well. Do you do this? This is another scenario where Sumesh gets to know Philip. Philip is a position from a higher rank, and Sumesh got to know that Philip is interested in charity. So Sumesh did a charity for one of the cause that Philip handles. So Philip got back with an appreciation note, and he asked, "How can I help?" So this actually started a business relationship, a good cordial business relationship between the two, Philip and Sumesh. What do you think about this? How would you approach this situation if you know? If you know that Philip is in a senior position and you need his help sometime or other, and you don't want to do charity, or you want to do charity, but you don't want to look like you are doing a favor to Philip, what is the thought process that that is coming to you. And this is another scenario, like to decide how you think. When you were asked to do a visioning exercise, how do you do? Start from today, like say bottom up or top down, from the future backwards. I I had a I had an interesting insight out here. I could never start it from today. Why? Because after say 6 months where I reach, then 3 years where I reach, and the 5 years where I reach. And if I have given myself say roughly 8 years, then by 8 years I'm not reaching there at my goals. So always I started backwards. Even then, it required a huge jump in between. The same is here. Like say whether you start from bottom up or top down, you are required to reach at a certain position if you are trying to reach the goal at a certain time, right? And that required a lot of courage. It doesn't require you to actually take a leap right then